down to at least the top 50 or so.
He was down to the last 50 of
Yeah.
people? No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God, the things you learn right before going on air. Actually, we are on air now. Your dad, MAGA Jesse, we just learned this right as we were going live. MAGA Jesse's dad tried to be on The Apprentice, and he got close in the early 2000s.
That's right.
Second, third interviews or what?
Yeah, no, I'd have to talk to him and refresh it all. But yeah, no, he was telling me about the interview processes and everything. It's pretty cool.
Just imagine the celebrity status he'd have now if his dad knew Trump.
Yeah.
Jesse
would have been nice.
Long gone on that campaign.
By the way, Jesse was telling me about his dreams, and he was dreaming about, was it Hillary?
Nikki
Haley? Oh, same person.
Yeah, I met Nikki in a dream. I met Joe Biden in a dream. I'm meeting all these kinds of people. I was at a Trump rally last night in my dreams. I'm everywhere. I'm all over the country.
All right, we'll get to that soon here. Let's get to the show. Welcome to The Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and lying corporate media. This episode's brought to you Alpine Cabinetry up in St. Cloud, Minnesota. We got a great show, Jesse. What are we going to talk about today?
That's right. United Hospital is bringing back mask mandates. We need to get into that. We got a preview of the legislative session here in Minnesota. Going to break down a lot of the sanctuary state bill and what different people are saying about it. We got some information on a focus group on RFK Jr. Did Matt Burke, our lieutenant governor candidate, sell out? The Senate passes a foreign aid package. A lot of rhinos backing that. A little breakdown of the Tucker Putin interview, and
I just added this one.
Yep, Canadian.
Have you seen this? This came from the Tucker interview. He had this segment on there.
Okay.
Canadian MPs applaud a Ukrainian Nazi. I never knew about that. Did you know about that?
Oh, I mean, I
did,
knew
I
it when
just
it
read about it.
happened. But,
did I just forget about this?
Yeah, no, it was a big story. We might even have talked about it then.
We might have. Crap, there's too much information out there. I don't know if we'll even get to the RFK stuff. We got so much to talk about. Reading your comments at home is the lovely Bridget. How you doing there, Bridget?
I'm doing excellent. And we have people that I haven't heard before. Rye Dog, based in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Tucker's here, Laser Jim, Brad Ganser roasting Jesse already. That explains some of the irrational support of Trump by MAGA Jesse.
Yeah, that's why. No, I do love
yeah.
The Apprentice, though. I mean, I can't help it. That was a great show.
You're saying the
we need reruns and the
Apprentice
Celebrity
before
Apprentice. Oh yeah, I mean, forget about Arnold. Nobody liked that season, but
love
we
how
need
Trump trolled
reruns,
him.
and America would, a lot of the Trump haters would realize why they used to love Trump.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so if you want to interrupt us at any time, go ahead and hit that Rumble rant. We will read your comment and stop whatever we're talking about, and make sure you like this episode. It tells the algorithm, those people behind the scenes, that this is something that other people like, and we can share it to other audiences. Most of you guys are probably watching on Rumble, but if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, do the same thing on those platforms. Running the dials, as always, Mr. Deep State himself, a CIA covert operative.
It's me. It's me. Today is Upper Body Day, and Overwatch 2 got a massive update. It's going to be great. I'm so excited about it.
I feel like you just were lifting weights in there, trying to get a pump, so
That's
you
right.
looked bigger. Oh, that's actually not bad there, Dawson.
Oh, isn't that crazy?
Look at that. He's got the hump.
The
Got the bicep hump.
hump. My
He's got the
triceps
hump
are
to hump.
bigger, though, and that pisses me off.
Let's get into this United Hospital policy. This is also brought to you by Warren Wessel. What am I doing here? Wow. This is what makes the show happen. Sponsors. Warren Wessel, if you're buying a home, you're selling a home, call my friend Warren Wessel. He thinks like you and me. Okay, he's been on the show multiple times. You see him around Action for Liberty headquarters. Warren is a guy that thinks like us, and he's damn good at his job. Give Warren a call, 612-419-7453 for a conservative real estate agent you can trust. Almost forgot to do that. The show wouldn't run if we didn't have sponsors. So we appreciate Alpine Cabinetry and Warren Wessel. All right, let's go to this United Health policy, or United Hospital. I always want to say United Health, not United Health, United Hospital. There's too many Uniteds in the medical world. This is an article we just published this morning. Had some nurses reach out to us. They liked what we did. If you guys remember the story, Children's Minnesota was about to institute a mask mandate. I think it went into effect on January 16th. And so we report the next day, as this was supposed to be introduced, they changed the mask mandate policy. I'm like, dang, is that how good our reporting is? It stirs this action. It could have been that. I don't know.
I mean,
Lines
it definitely
up.
had a factor. I mean, I think
so.
I think the nurses had seen the article and they were pushing the administrators, so it definitely had an effect.
Right. And we did have people reach out to us, mostly on the patient side or parents of patients, and talking about it. So certainly I think they were aiming their frustration at corporate, if you will. So anyhow, we had these nurses reach out to us, United Health, and God, I keep doing it. United Hospital, Alina Health System. This is the problem.
Wait, United is an Alina hospital?
Well, I mean,
Is
yeah,
it?
like everything is now the big dogs, right? Fairview,
Yeah.
which is the U of M, although aren't they splitting now? And
Yeah, I
Alina.
think that they are, and people are pretty excited about that. I don't know why, but
I mean, some people are probably not excited about it too, right? So anyhow, they have this policy, and we actually had the nurses reach out and send this to us. So we've got it. You can go to actionforliberty.com. It's right there on the front page. But essentially it says that for all direct and indirect patient care, staff, volunteers, contractors, and vendors, they're going to be required to wear a mask. This is if two conditions happen. This is what really got them frustrated. One of the conditions is the CDC state county COVID-19 hospitalization levels are at a medium level or higher. Now, we went ahead and published where it's at today. By the way, looking back, still not above green level. But you can see that's the map of the whole state of Minnesota, or actually the whole country. But you can see Minnesota clearly, very solidly in the green. The one area that's not, well, there's two areas, somewhere up north, it's in the yellow, and somewhere down south. Ramsey County, I think you guys know, you don't need a geographic lesson. Actually, Bridget, you do, don't you?
No, because I live in Ramsey.
Okay, but you know where
So-
it's at on that map? I feel like testing you right now.
can you
Kind
point
of.
it out?
The story behind that is she's
Okay.
like, I'm going back home for the week. Can I tell a story, or should
Yeah,
I
I
not
don't
tell a
care.
story? You're going back home. I'm like, because you're from Kansas, and I was like, what part of Kansas? And you were puzzled. You didn't know what part of Kansas. I was like, how do you not know what part of the state you come from?
I thought it was East. It is Eastern. Yeah. I thought it was Western.
Are
but
you sure it's Eastern?
Yeah.
Western would be way different.
Yeah. Western's a little prettier.
All right, so we're down in the southeastern part of Minnesota, for those who don't know. All green, clearly all green. This is the policy. We posted it here. You can go check it out yourself. This was made to us by a nurse. She actually highlighted. In fact, I had two nurses reach out, so I corroborated this story. The other criteria is if ILI activity, state ILI. Now, I didn't know what the hell that meant. I learned that this morning. It's
you remember?
influenza-like illnesses.
Yep.
Right? Influenza, I mean, it's just they're making up categories, to put in these old mandates that don't really make a difference. So we went ahead and looked at that map too. And if you can look down, this is according to the CDC. Go to the bottom of those, Dawson. You'll see the map of the United States again. And once again, we are, isn't it interesting how the border states are higher in the ILI? I guess Arizona's doing okay. So we are at a very low level, the very light shading of green, ILI. So even their own guidelines, their two policy measures, show that I shouldn't have a mask mandate. Now, right now, it's only encouraged to patients, and you are in and out of medical facilities, Bridget. Like, how bad do they push it on patients? Like, do caregivers do
With
it?
the masks?
Yeah.
It literally just depends. Like every time they have, at least where I work, anytime there's like a COVID case or an outbreak, then they make everybody mask.
Even the patients?
Usually us, not so much the patients anymore.
Okay, but do they
But they will isolate them
do they do like the strongly encourage? Do they do the passive aggressive
to
Minnesota
the
thing?
residents.
Yeah, like
Not
I
that
know
I've
a lot
seen.
of like they come into the room. They go, I know a lot of patients are wearing masks right now.
Yeah. Well, it's hard because I'm mostly at long-term care facilities, so no, not there, I don't think. But they will isolate them, literally still 10 days, and they cannot and you're supposed to gown up, wear gloves, put on a mask, all that stuff to go in the room, and I'm just like, I don't.
What do you
because
mean
it's
they
so dumb.
isolate for 10 days? What do you mean by that?
They literally keep them in their room, like locked up. They can't come out of their rooms.
Like a patient?
The residents,
you mean?
yeah.
Oh, you mean? I'm sorry. If they had COVID.
Yeah, if they.
Oh, I
had
was
it.
like, wait, how could they?
Which
do
is
that
just
to everyone?
crazy to me still that they're doing that. Because I'm like,
Well, that's the
No.
one that makes sense, right? Just stay away from people. Don't get other people
yeah,
sick.
technically, but it's just I guess when we know it's not that big of a deal, it's just
Yeah.
kind of crazy to isolate them.
Yeah, even the older generations, because it's. I
Yeah.
mean, at that certain ages, I mean, anything's gonna kill you at that point, right?
I mean, pretty much.
It's like
true.
94-year-old. Well, what did she die from? I don't know. She was 94 years old. Pick or choose, right?
Yeah.
All right. So it says masks are required. This is the policy. Masks are required during direct and indirect patient care for staff, volunteers, contractors, and vendors. It is recommended that all staff, providers, volunteers, contractors, and vendors at Allina Health hospitals, get ready for this, clinics and patient care areas wear a mask upon entry to the facility and when traveling in public spaces. Now, when I first read that, I read it as if like they're not even on the health campus anymore, but I think that's maybe what they mean by this. They don't mean like if you go to lunch, you're still wearing a mask, like off
that'd be
campus. What do you
crazy.
think?
They can't say that.
I mean, once again, it's not. It's what did they say? It's. Well, it does say that it is recommended. So this one is not mandated. It's recommended. Ugh. It's like we learn nothing. And then it goes to patients and visitors. It's recommended that all patients and visitors wear a mask while at Allina hospitals, clinics, and facilities, not requiring it unless, of course, you have a fever or respiratory illnesses. By the way, cloth masks do absolutely nothing on the spread of COVID-19. Even the science that they allude exists, which is false, and we've published, it's on our YouTube, and I think it's even on Rumble, when Joe Rogan had Dr. Michael Ostrom on, and he says that cloth masks don't do anything. He advocates for N95 masks, which actually we've admitted, or always said, have efficacy, but that cloth masks are useless. And any of his students, if they were to publish the studies that they use, like by the government, he would have flunked them because they're flawed studies. So anyhow, they don't work. Cloth masks absolutely do not work. Now, where this kind of took an interesting turn is there are some nurses at United just saying we're not going to comply with this. They're having a little bit of a revolt, and a lot of staff members that are on board with them just quite frankly haven't taken it in their own hands. Mm-hmm. This is how you change things in politics, right? You just don't comply with stupid policies, right? Now, I just want to get down to the human aspect of it, if I can, okay? The data suggests we are accurate on this stuff, okay? You know what, Dawson? You being the lefty on this show,
Yeah.
have you have you come to understand that masks don't work, cloth masks don't work? Or do you still kind of believe that there's some efficacy cloth masks
There's some
when it comes
efficacy.
to COVID-19?
Cloth mask. If I make like this shirt into a mask, it's not going to be as effective as an N95 or as a
Is it effective at all?
surgical mask.
Is
It has
effective
an
at all?
effect. Yeah.
What's that?
It does have an effect.
What's
yes.
the effect?
How effective?
I couldn't answer that, but it does have an effect. It's not just nothing happens.
Does it stop the spread of COVID?
No.
Okay, so it has
yeah.
really no effect.
No, that's
Maybe
not
it catches a droplet or two, but it has really
Sure.
no grand effect,
true.
right?
Maybe it captures 1 million droplets. I don't know, but any more
But it's
than
not
0
even
is great.
droplets,
I'm
it's
happy
not
with
But
that.
you at least admit, being the lefty on this show,
Yeah.
that
Brad says
am I the
cloth mask
lefty?
has zero effectiveness. Dawson is wrong. What
I
do you
don't
have to
think
say,
Dawson's
Dawson?
100% wrong on this. There is such a minute effectiveness, right, that you could literally call it ineffective.
Not literally, no.
Yeah, like in the literal sense, it has maybe a marginal level of effectiveness in maybe catching a particle of COVID.
Look at that.
as
I've
it
already
goes
got
out
you
there.
coming my way a little bit.
Right.
If for me personally, I wish that I could wear a mask all the time just because I'm very,
You can.
yeah, I can. Not here. But even if there's a small effect on it, I think it's worth it.
No. I'm saying such a small. It's like saying, God, what would be the point? Okay, here would be an example. Let's say it's pouring rain outside,
Yeah.
and over my head I held a stick.
No.
That stick technically caught a couple droplets of rain, so those droplets of rain didn't end up on me. I'm still soaking wet. It's like what a COVID mask does. Brad Ganser, I see you.
Yeah, he's going.
I'm not wrong.
And he says,
Give me
Dr.
my
Oklahoma.
example here. I'm doing this on the fly. The analogy is the stick caught a couple of droplets of rain, and those droplets of rain didn't end up on my head or my body. So it technically protected me from a couple droplets of water.
Yep.
So what? Overall, I'm still soaking wet, right? Same thing with the mask. Maybe they catch a couple things in the fabric, but
Yep.
in the general sense, you're still going to get COVID, right? They're useless. They're ineffective at stopping the spread of COVID. I think you admitted to that it is ineffective in stopping the spread of COVID.
No,
correct?
it is. I said that it is effective. It's not very
Okay.
effective.
All right, so he's still living in La La Land. That's okay. We'll keep working on
But
Dawson
isn't
for you guys.
the virus literally so tiny that it literally goes through the mask anyways?
Correct, yeah.
So then it doesn't really work. It can't work.
Well, what I'm saying, and by the way, I don't even know if I'm accurate on this thing. Like, could it technically, some of the fabric of the mask catch a particle, and it adheres to that?
But so what? All the rest of the disease
All the
around
yeah, that's
is
why
going
my
through.
example of the stick in the rain, right? Technically, the stick caught a couple droplets of rain,
Yeah.
but it didn't keep
it's
you from
everywhere else
being
anyways.
wet, right?
Yeah.
I might be completely wrong on that. Maybe they don't adhere to the fabric, and they don't. That doesn't even have an effectiveness. I would be willing to at least grant that the mask has the most minimal effectiveness at that, which really makes no statistical difference. You're going to still catch COVID.
How are COVID viruses typically transferred? It's by droplets, right?
No, it's not. See, you don't even know. It's aerosol. That was the funniest thing. At the begining of COVID, everyone's wiping down with Clorox bleach like every
Yeah,
shopping.
they said it wasn't airborne at first. Then they found out it was.
It was, yeah, it is dumb because they know that it was aerosol. Like, they knew it from day one. It's a respiratory disease. It's coronavirus. It's spread by aerosol. So,
if
as Bridget said, the particles go right through the mask.
Well, so if someone spits in your mouth, that's fine because it's no COVID's.
That's not how it spreads.
There's no COVID in the spit particles, the little droplets that are flying around?
I have no idea on that. I don't know about that. But that's not how it spreads.
Let's say that there is.
No one. Okay, so the two people that during COVID spit in each other's mouth. Well, I guess swapping. Well, okay, this is a stupid.
This
this
is
is a
really
stupid
dumb.
conversation.
Yeah.
What are the comment section? Base Minnesota. Read that one.
Dallas is my favorite NPC. That one.
That is funny. I like that one.
Yeah, I like that one, right?
What am I into?
Gosh.
I just want to I want to wear a cool mask and carry a big stick in the rain. That's what I want to do.
What does the lovely T-Wall for Life have to say
T-Wall
here?
says, "Do the risks outweigh the benefits for young children in school?" I don't think so.
Of course not. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
What
I
risk?
was getting somewhere. I don't even know why I went to you, the lefty on the show. He just stole like 5 minutes. I was going somewhere with
You
this. Let's
gave
get to
me
the
5
humanity.
minutes. What are you talking about?
What's that?
You gave me 5 minutes.
I know it was a mistake of mine.
Damn straight.
It was a big mistake. Was it Napkin 8 that?
But you
gave
heard it
you a
here first.
$20
Jake
Rumble rant last
Duesenberg
time.
says there's a tiny little bit of effectiveness.
to stop mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
he
think
might be more
T-Wall for
accurate
Life
than
is
I am.
right too. That there's unintended consequences of masks. That they're dirty. That kids are
Right.
getting all kinds of diseases just by wearing them. They're touching their face more. So really, it's not even healthy for you to be wearing a mask because you're just going to be adjusting it so much. And like I said, if you reuse it, it's going to be dirty. It's going to be gross, and you're going to be breathing in bacteria all day.
Well, and Gray Matters show, or the Gray Matters show, says the only thing a cloth mask does is make the wearer sicker from CO2 poisoning.
CO2 poisoning. CO2 is small enough to get through the holes in a cloth mask if COVID can. Surely.
Do you know that for sure?
A
It's
molecule.
definitely
do you know that?
harder to breathe with a mask on.
What?
So then what is that? It is definitely harder to breathe with a mask on
Because there.
because you're breathing out so much CO2 and then it's like you don't have enough fresh oxygen right there to breathe in.
When I wear a mask, the discomfort I feel is from having something right here. It's not from not being able to breathe oxygen.
Oh, I mean, it definitely is for me.
definitely can't
When
breathe
when I've had to wear a mask, like on an airplane or
was-
something, because that's the
yeah.
only time that I've ever, been wearing one. But it's so irritating, and it's like you can feel that there's a lack of oxygen that
I think so,
you're,
too.
that you can't breathe as well as you can. I can breathe just fine right now, but if I was wearing a mask, it'd definitely get in the way.
I think that's less so CO2 than like material being in your nose, right?
The size of a CO2 molecule is 0.33 nanometers. And I'm just doing this on the fly
That is very small.
because that's how life works.
Alley
So-
Cat says a friend of hers still wipes everything she buys.
And then a SARS-CoV-2 molecule is 100 nanometers in diameter.
There you go. I mean, but at the end of the day, there are other reasons to wear a mask, other reasons not to wear a mask. I think it comes down to personal choice. There was a guy that was like, if you don't want to wear a mask, just don't. But if
hold
I
on.
want to wear a mask,
you think that it stops the spread of, or has some impact on stopping the spread, which there's
Yep.
no data to suggest that.
Brad
All the
Ganser.
data is
We have a Rumble
junk.
again.
All those supposed
Okay, but
studies
if
are
you
junk. Hold on,
tackle-
we
Okay, I
gotta
have
go
to
to the
interrupt
rum
you
rack.
guys. Yeah.
You're more important than the rum
$20
rack.
from Brad Ganser says the frightening thing here is that it has been 4 years and people still don't know crap about the
That's
science.
right.
That's actually
Amen to
really
that
true.
one. Well, and it really goes back to Michael Osterholm saying if one of his grad students produced the studies that these kind of people say show advocacy of masks, he would have flunked them. And that's
Okay.
like the top epidemiologist in Minnesota. Okay,
Well,
I was going somewhere
Fauci
with
said
this.
it too. Fauci said the cloth masks
I know.
don't work. So I mean,
And then he wore 2 masks.
We can find anybody who has a brain to say that.
Yeah. Let's go back to this is the point I was trying to make, okay? I can't believe I went down that rabbit hole there. The point I'm trying to make is just the humanity side. This is how I ended the article, right? It's the humanity side to it. We study faces and facial expressions. That's what it's like hardwired in our DNA as humans. If you're an evolutionist, you would probably explain it in the sense it was an evolutionary reason, survival reason for that. And if, there's probably other reasons for it, okay? But I don't know what it is. We're hardwired to study faces. Masks change that. That's why it's really bad with socialization of children. Like, that's really bad with kids. But even us, if you're at a hospital, like, just imagine you're at the hospital. You're not doing well. I mean, unless you're having a baby, I guess. But you're at a hospital. You're not doing well, okay? And you take away that personal interaction, just the humanity side of it, to me, to allow masks when they don't have efficacy, right? To let us see those facial expressions, show the smile, show the frown, show the face as it's or you're interacting with another human being, and they take that from you.
Fascinating.
What's fascinating?
You added an emotional element to your argument.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Taking a playbook out of the left.
That's well
No, I
done.
really, truly do believe it. And that's why I thought no one really gave me crap when I would go to stores not wearing a mask, because I'm generally a pretty happy guy and I smile a lot. And I think people were like, yeah, I kind of like the fact I'm seeing this guy who seems to be a pretty happy, optimistic dude, and he's smiling. And that was lost on us.
I got kicked out of Walmart one time because I was like refusing to wear a mask, and this big old lady, came up to me and was, it's like, who are you to tell me anything about health? It was like, I don't care what you have to say. And, I kept doing my business. They, next thing you know, security, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I don't need, I don't need to be buying from your business anyway. And, I could just tell it was a rogue employee. She, on a power trip, she wanted to feel important. But it's like, I don't need some big old lady coming at me and telling me what I need to do with my body. It's like, I think I know better than you. So I'm sick of the masks too. It's so annoying.
I love how I go from talking about the smile of taking a mask.
No, I know
big
that-
old lady.
Well, that was the thing. When you said the big old smile, I remember I was thinking the opposite because I was like, these people are pissing me off.
Yeah. No, I had one person try shaming me, and I just ignored what they said. It was like at a liquor store. I was looking for a bottle of bourbon, and the guy goes, "Sir," and he like signaled to the mask, and I just like literally didn't even acknowledge what he said. I go, "Hey, I'm looking for a bottle of whatever the bourbon I was looking
Yeah.
for." And I just like completely ignored what he said. He must have felt so dumb. Just like, I'm just gonna keep going. And what's the worst you're gonna do? You're gonna kick me out? See,
Yeah.
hospitals, they kind of got you. That's the thing that bugs me. I think that's why a lot of people get mad about it. I do too.
Right.
So, we're seeing a revolt here among staff, and this is all line of hospitals apparently. So, good for these nurses. I got to say, I love these freaking nurses, right? Like, and where were the doctors during all this, 2-3 years ago during the stop the mandates? Like, there
Yeah.
was not a lot of them, right? But these nurses, there's like 20-30% of nursing staffs who are like strongly against the vaccine mandates, and more now rising up against these stupid mask mandates. What does that look for, Dawson? What do you got? You
Oh,
look
I'm
like you got
just-
something snarky.
No, I'm learning.
Susie Scarella, I love that. Yeah, Menards. See, that's what really pissed me off about Menards. They instituted the mask mandate before you could eat, before it was even a decree by Governor Walz.
Elusive Butterfly says, is it only United Hospital at this point? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is it all line of facilities? Or is it
Yeah,
just
so
United?
this is and go back to actionforliberty.com. It says Abbott Northwestern. This is the department's divisions operational areas that are under this policy change. Abbott, Buffalo Hospital, Cambridge Medical Center, Faribault Medical Center, Mercy Hospital, New Ulm Medical Center, Owatonna Hospital, River Falls Area Hospital, also Wisconsin too, St. Francis Regional Hospital, United Hospital, Alina Health Group, Alina Health Home Care Services, all other patient care settings. So, all patient care settings under Alina. Yeah. Now, maybe different hospitals have kind of lax the standards. We're just hearing it from United. United, obviously, downtown St. Paul.
When the people that we got this from are from United, right?
Oh, do you not trust my sources again?
No.
Oh, no. Challenging it again.
No, my point
is... This is your disinformation campaign, you damn CIA operative.
Yeah.
They work for United.
Okay, so the other places might also be doing it too. We just don't have we just don't have anyone from those coming to us yet.
We've had nurses reach out to us about the children's is a big one, right?
Yeah. When was that? Months ago?
No, it was just last month. Yeah, time's moving.
Well, I have a friend at Mercy that said, back when we talked about it a couple shows back, said that they were implementing it there as well.
Yeah, and one of our policies articles came from you, about a healthcare facility you went to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Did I just reveal our source?
I don't care.
Okay, let's go to preview of the legislative session. An article you wrote on actionforliberty.com, Jesse. I think probably the highlight, the sanctuary state.
Yeah, so line 8 there, Dawson. Let's go ahead and pull up that article. And go ahead and scroll down a little bit. We're going to be talking about the sanctuary state stuff in just a second here, so we'll just move on to the so-called Equal Rights Amendment, because that's the title that these Democrats and rhinos are putting out there. But I'm seeing a super chat or whatever that's called.
Rant, yeah.
Rumble rant.
Love Minnesota says Legionnaire's disease is a type of pneumonia caused by Legionella bacteria. It doesn't spread from person to person. Instead, the bacteria spreads through mist, such as from air conditioning units.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know.
What's the context of talking about Legionnaire's disease?
I don't know.
It's aerosolized? Is that the...
Didn't we just... I feel like we just were talking about this a while ago. Or am I thinking of something else? I'm curious what the reference is here, Love Minnesota. When you do a Rumble rant, you take our attention away, and I guess maybe they're trying to steer us away
you've
from
made
the
me curious
state.
about it. I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Similar to COVID.
Yeah,
okay, got it. Yep,
I see.
There you go. Very good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. But yeah, back to this Equal Rights Amendment, because that's this is what the Democrats want to call this thing. It has nothing to do with equal rights, because first of all, transgenders do not have the right to compete against your daughters in sports. That's not a constitutional right. People have completely misunderstood the definition and purpose of our civil and constitutional rights. But this is something that it needs to be approved by the people. It would be on the ballot in November because they're trying to put this into the state constitution. People need to be prepared to fight that. In last session, this was passed in the state Senate with all of the Democrats voting for it, and then we had 6 rhinos: Julia Coleman, Rich Straheim, Zach Duckworth, Karin Housley, Jeremy Miller, John Jasinski. So those 6, they all fell in line to side with the transgenders and to side with the people who, so it would prevent discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, and national origin. This is going to set up prosecutorial problems for people who have some common sense. That needs to be fought. Following by that, I think assisted suicide is another topic that the Democrats seem to want to push into this legislative session. This is an idea that I've actually had a reversal on, because before you used it...
Can we go back just real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, and I totally forgot about this. Thanks for the recap, because I hadn't even read your article yet. This did pass in the Senate, which would have been the higher hurdle. So what's going to happen, and this is SF 37, it would add something to our ballot in Minnesota as a constitutional amendment. That's how we passed constitutional amendments in Minnesota. So this is what would happen. This is what you would see. The proposed amendment must be submitted to the people at the 2024 general election. If ratified, the amendment is effective January 1st, 2025. The question submitted must be, this will be on the ballot, okay, because it's going to pass the House and Walz is going to sign it, right? Unless you guys do something about it.
Yep.
It says, quote, shall the Minnesota Constitution be amended by adding a specific guarantee that equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by this state or any of its cities, counties, or other political subdivisions on account of race, color, creed, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, age, disability, ancestry, or national origin. And then you have 2 responses, yes or no. You're right. 6 rhinos supported this. Okay. This is bullshit because remember, the Democrats just made pedophilia a sexual orientation in Minnesota. And that's actually under the Minnesota Human Rights Act.
And, what this tells me, too, Rich Straheim and Karin Housley, don't forget that they skipped the child mutilation transgender vote. What does that tell me? If they voted for this and then skipped that vote, Karin Housley can pretend like she was out on vacation, that there was nothing she could do about it.
Legislative conference. We knew that. We reported on it.
Yep, exactly. But Rich Straheim, he says he's at doctor's appointments. Sure. I'm not falling for any of that crap. But that's the thing. If they voted for this, that tells you where they really stand on this issue. And the fact that they were silent and, it was like pulling teeth. I was going after these people hard after the child transgender vote. And Julia Coleman, she was skipping every single vote until the final vote. And then finally she votes no.
Yeah, we didn't know. We thought she was going to be gone.
Exactly. I don't know if it was because me and others were pressuring them on social media, get your ass back to the Capitol, get out and vote. I don't care if it's a Friday night. Do your job.
Right.
The Democrats did that on purpose. Of course they're going to put it on a Friday night to try to draw out support. But guess what? You have to be there to fight. That's your job. So we got to keep in mind who those 6 rhinos are, and we need to pressure them, bring them back to common sense.
How many Republicans vote for this in the House, do you think?
I don't know. I'd hope none. But who knows?
We have a comment about that from Hate MN. He said, as an insurance broker, I got asked yesterday about life insurance and the death with dignity, in parentheses, assisted suicide bill. I find out that they will most likely be falsifying death certificates. And he said, my recollection back during COVID is that there were no actual death certificates that stated COVID as a cause of death.
Right, and I agree with that completely. Yeah. I think that the death certificates are being fudged currently. They were messed with during COVID, and with assisted suicide, so-called assisted suicide, then we're going to see that problem even more. So go ahead and go back to the article there, Dawson, because all we have to do is look to Canada. Our neighbors to the north, our communist neighbors, who have instituted euthanasia laws that have been that have led to the death of individuals who had no terminal illness. I have a specific example linked in there. We don't need to look at it right now, but it's from the AP News, perfectly credible. This was an individual who was depressed, but he had no terminal illness. And what do these evil doctors do? The evil hospitals that want to lower our population, that want to kick some of the old people out of society, they're pushing these people to kill themselves. And that is not what we need in Minnesota. We're going to see all kinds of evil things going on that way. Citizens need to be informed of this issue. You can't let it happen to your loved one because if we have assisted suicide legalized in Minnesota, you got to believe that there's going to be evil actors pushing it big time.
Let's discuss this for a second, okay? Because I come up in a weird area on this issue, okay? So bear with me here. I haven't fully thought through this one, but I hear on the right a pushback, like not a chance. You can't have assisted suicide. And I always think about the person that's suffering from incredible amount of pain, terminal cancer, and they just would like to end their life. And it seems like it's almost immoral to make someone have to suffer
right
in that case.
I don't disagree with you on that.
Let me finish my thought here real quick. Okay. So I kind of am in this area of, when it comes to the moral argument here, it seems immoral to make them suffer. What I don't understand is how can you then allow government this avenue that opens a Pandora's box where you do have people that are depressed and they're basically allowed to kill themselves by assistance of medical professionals, which seems to go against what they're supposed to be doing in the first place. And I don't know if we can literally do this. I don't think we can legalize this, even though I think there is a maybe it's almost like the death penalty. I'm against the death penalty because even though some people really deserve to be killed because of what they've done, the problems with allowing the government that kind of open area to kill people who were then innocent people will be put to death seems to me not worth the policy change. Where am I wrong on where I'm at on this issue?
Yeah, I'm mainly with you on that. And the biggest problem is, I never really understood this issue until I started talking to some older people, and they tell you that I'm afraid to go to the hospital in a situation like that because they're going to try to kill me. And, so it wasn't until then that it clicked with me. Oh, so that's That's what it's about. And I agree that if someone has a terminal illness, I kind of agree that they should have you have the right to life, you have the right to death.
I disagree with that 100%.
But it should 100% be their choice. But that being said, we can't trust the government that's in this situation because they're always going to make the laws too broad. They're going to allow it to be too applicable to too many people, and we're going to see too many doctors pushing it onto people that don't have these terminal illnesses. And also, we say terminal illness. There have been miracle recoveries from people. People have been said that they have a terminal illness that's going to kill them, and then they end up surviving.
Well, I would certainly think it is matched with like excruciating pain. 'Cause
Right.
I think if you have some hope, where do you disagree with this? Bridget?
You just say you think it's almost more moral to let them end their suffering. I don't think that's true at all because, I mean, obviously you guys know as a moral standpoint, I'm going to be different on that because I would see God as the author of life and death. You have no right to take your own life, ever. Like, just because you're suffering is not a reason that you can just take your own life. Like, there's plenty of suffering. And then, like, in that case, why is regular suicide not allowed? People are suffering mentally. People are suffering.
About the nobility of putting your own life in jeopardy for saving someone else?
That's really different, though. That's not just, I think that's so different. You're saving somebody else. You're not just strictly killing yourself. Like, the first action is saving someone else. The action is not to kill yourself. Like, the end goal is not to kill yourself.
But then where does free will fit into there? Like someone just said, God gave you life, he will take it when he sees fit. But God gave humans
you
free
do
will
still
too.
technically have your free will to take it. I think it's immoral, though. You have, obviously, you can do whatever action you want, but I think it's not moral.
In Judaism, suicide is a sin as well. But I think that there are reasons to do it. It kind of comes down to like what rabbis think about it in the moment. Like there's no blanket, this is all okay or not okay.
You know, I hear your viewpoint, and I guess I'm very sympathetic to that viewpoint. I think the person that's suffering in that situation would really question the probably their faith if they are told I have to suffer through this pain that's
And
so bad. You know,
I
what
would
mean?
say people don't understand what suffering is really about, but
No, that's fair.
that is, I think there's a reason for suffering.
You know, and I'm not actually totally against what you're saying from a moralistic standpoint there. I'm saying in terms of how the government regulates
but
things.
then you come into that, I think the government should never be able to regulate because the government doesn't give you your right to life. God does, so he's the one that can regulate that.
Right. But I'm saying they can't forbid someone from doing something that they openly want to. You know, I'm more laissez-faire. However,
But
once again,
legalizing it is different than forbidding someone to do what they want.
right. Well, that's the whole question here is
Yeah.
the legalizing. This is what's tricky. And that's, I think, you know, I'd love to see this debate happen, but it seems like Democrats want to just push this thing through.
Right.
As if the debate's already happened. Listen, I'm a guy that sees both sides of this issue. Let's hash it out. But this thing needs to be hashed out, and this is a long conversation.
Right.
Canada
it
seems
needs
to be
proper
screwing
debate,
things up.
and it needs to be so tightly worded that, but knowing who these Democrats are in Minnesota, I don't think that's happening. I don't think they're going to be putting together a nuanced piece of legislation on this one.
Nor would I trust these people with
Right.
any kind of moral judgment. These guys are the same people that think a 6-year-old knows which gender they are, and you can hack them up. These are the same people that say, this baby, which we thought could die from an abortion, the abortion failed, and you go ahead and let this baby continue to die even though it's born alive. That's the people that cast a moral judgment. It is. I see someone wrote, there's a death cult. It is. It's like a death cult. That's what the modern Democrat Party has become. I think we have to be open about how evil the Democrat Party has come. Like, I don't think we should mince words here. When you look at, like, removing the pedophilia designation in the Human Rights Act so that pedophilia could be construed as a sexual orientation, like, how does that come from a good place? It's clearly, and who was the constituency advocating for that change? It's so insane.
Data78 has a good comment too. That he said legalizing assisted suicide undermines efforts to maintain and improve good care for patients nearing the end of life. Which I can see that too. They're probably like, it's just easier to encourage them to kill themselves.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's what I hear is going on big time in Canada is that, they're really pushing it. I've been seeing story after story on it. And it seems like we want to follow their lead in a lot of ways, which is not a good thing. But just to go back to the article here, Eliminating the Electoral College is another big ticket item that I think the Democrats are going to be trying to push this session. They flirted with the last session. This session, of course, they're going to try to push it through. That's going to make us entirely reliant on California, New York, all these other big states. It's going to, it would really destroy our country. And also, I wish these Democrats would just take the time to learn the American history of our Electoral College and how beautiful of a system it is. Because I think a lot of them are just clueless. They just become co-opted by slogans to make them think that it's a broken system. There's nothing broken about it. And then the last big item is the bonding bill. They had passed one last session, and this was so disappointing that they passed one last session because it was the single piece of leverage that the Republicans had to use against the Democrats. Why? Because you need 3/5 support from the legislature. That means that they needed Republican support to pass a bonding bill. And not only that, it was a pay-to-play bonding bill. Who can forget what Sandra Pappas was out there saying? She even admitted it. So the Republicans squandered that opportunity. They could have said, we have this demand, this demand, this demand, this demand, including, at that time, a complete return of the budget surplus back to the taxpayers. What did they do? Absolutely nothing. They squandered the opportunity. If they're going to, try to pass a bonding bill this time, I would tell the Republicans that you don't cave until there is a reversal of all the radical policies that the Democrats have implemented, from the transgender stuff to the pedophile stuff to the gun control. You need to go all the way down the list and tell them that we're not going to take it anymore. The bonding bill is their only opportunity. Tell your legislators to vote no on the bonding bill.
Speaking of guns, really quick, News 2727 said Lee Finke wants to ban all semi-automatic guns that can use a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. Also talks of buyback program. Crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Finke's got do you know if Finke's got a new piece of legislation?
I don't know, that's what I'm wondering.
Or, I mean, I'm sure Stinky Finke has authored or
I better
co-authored.
say Chris Finke before Tucker comes in here, too.
Yeah, Chris Finke. Well, we just call him Stinky Finke.
Yeah.
This pitiful person. Just pitiful person. I'm just looking up real quick here. Looking at Finke's bills, chief co-authored, that dropped. Yeah, he's right. It's HF 3570. Good job, Newt, from the Egan Mafia. This is HF 3570. It's called Sale or Transfer of Semi-Automatic Military-Style Assault Weapons Prohibited, Buyback Program Authorized, and Money Appropriated.
Military style. They just throw around that term, right? What does that even mean?
Yeah. It's got a Senate companion bill. By the way, it's Finke Agbaje Kozlowski. Isn't Kozlowski the two-spirited?
Yeah.
Morons.
Yeah.
Kraft and Spencer Mura. And then in the Senate companion is McEwen, Jen McEwen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, that's HF 3570 by Stinky Finke.
Wow.
All right, let's go to this new sanctuary state bill, and then Jesse's got something that I think most people don't know. Where does Wall stand on this issue? You got a little insight on that. So first of all, this is HF 3459. Now Stinky Finke's a co-author on it. Pull that up there, Dawson, so everyone can see. This is we reported last week about the bill that they had last session. This is the one. This is their new one. So just a couple things to highlight. It very much mimics the one that they had last year. This is now considered the North Star bill.
North Star Act.
North Star Act, yeah. So essentially what it does is it makes it prohibits government officials from asking questions about the status of someone's immigration. Okay? Where there isn't a prohibit or a exception is at the ballot box. So looking at this law, if you're an election judge and questioning someone's status as a legal citizen, you are against the law if this thing passes, the sanctuary state bill. Now, what's fascinating about this bill, we had reported last week, and they kept the language here, gives the Attorney General Keith Ellison new investigative powers. They create a hotline. So now imagine you're an illegal alien and some law enforcement officer is trying to enforce immigration laws. You can call a hotline to get the Attorney General Keith Ellison to investigate a law enforcement officer who's doing their job. There you go. Wonderful America, here we are. Someone that does not belong here came across our border, can actually call and make the Attorney General investigate a law-abiding citizen in Minnesota. Wonderful world we live in. God, these guys are so bad. But this one goes further. They added something, enforcement actions. This is section 3. And it allows relief, or allows defendants, the party bringing the enforcement action may sue any person or entity that has violated this section. So now you're an illegal, I don't even know how this works. You're an illegal alien, you don't have a right to be here, and you can actually sue somebody for trying to enforce the law?
Right, and you can weaponize the government against law-abiding citizens. It is pretty crazy, and this also comes right on the heels of the fact that ICE confirmed that an illegal terrorist was caught in Minnesota. The audacity of these Democrats to be pushing a bill like this right when that news is hot. It shows that they don't care about the people.
Do you even? Serious question. Do you think they know about that?
I don't know. Maybe
last
not.
I checked, it was us and Daily Caller were the only, and Fox News. They don't watch Fox News.
Yeah.
I think we're the only ones that actually reported on this. Oh, Alpha News finally reported on it. Do they even know that happened?
Maybe not. Maybe they're just not in the know. But I mean, it is crazy for them. At this time to be introducing a law like that.
Let's go to the comment section here.
Not a lot on the topic right now, but Tucker says good advertising for gun stores. Get them while you can.
Yeah, gun sales always spike when they come after our guns. All right, what's the news story you got here? What do we know right now about Governor Walz's stance on sanctuary states?
Right, because he has been completely silent so far on the fact that Omar Fateh and these other radicals are pushing this bill. But what did he say back in 2018? Well, how about we watch what Jeff Johnson put in his campaign ad relating to Tim Walz, because this is something that I uncovered that I don't think a lot of people know. So that's line number 10 there, Dawson.
Yep.
This election is all about vision. One candidate sees a Minnesota where we all lose our health insurance, forced onto one government plan, where we become a sanctuary state for illegal immigrants.
Pause it right there.
Yep.
Minnesota should be a sanctuary state and give driver's license to illegal immigrants.
And that's Walz's response to Our Revolution Minnesota. Our Revolution Minnesota is a socialist group. Obviously, they're for open borders. And that was Tim Walz's response. Minnesota should be a sanctuary state. And I like that Jeff Johnson includes in here, and give driver's licenses to illegal immigrants, because guess what? That already happened. So we know that that's their plan, because we've already seen Tim Walz implement half of his agenda here. Now he's got the next legislative session here. He wants to implement the second half, making Minnesota a sanctuary state so that we can't have ICE and other immigration officials deporting these people like we need. We need a mass deportation in this country, especially in our state. And, Tim Walz obviously has an agenda. They want to make all these illegals voters. That's why they gave them the driver's licenses. That's why the license doesn't say anything about whether they're a citizen or not. They're doing this to try to steal our elections. People need to stand up and fight.
All right, we'll dig into that story a little bit more. I just tried doing this while we were live. Our Revolution Minnesota.
I tried to find the quote on their website or something. I was unable to find it. Maybe they're covering their tracks. But I appreciate that Jeff Johnson put that out there back then, because he's foretelling the story that is unfolding right before our very eyes.
I'm just wondering if it was it looked like it was a response to maybe a candidate.
If you're looking that up, Jake, the second part of the quote isn't in quotation marks, so that might have been later in what he was saying or something. I don't know, but that could be messing up your search.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking what it is they did a candidate survey. That's what I would imagine is the case here. And it's probably because that could be like the 2016, 2014 election cycle. So it might be long enough ago where, it's nowhere on their website.
5 years ago, yeah.
No,
when this was
5
released.
years ago. Shit, 8 years ago.
That's when this video was released, I'm saying.
Yeah. But you got to remember, they're a national group. It was probably when he was running for Congress, wouldn't you think?
Maybe.
I'm thinking as a congressman, he answered their candidate survey.
Mm-hmm. But, I can't remember exactly when. I mean, I think Our Revolution wasn't really up and going until 2015, because wasn't it the Bernie movement that founded our revolution.
Sounds right.
So at least I'm
So
going
maybe
back
it was
into
the
my
2016 election
memory
cycle.
log here.
Yeah, that would have been
So-
the last time he ran for Congress.
Right. So I would think 2015, 2016 was probably when that quote was taken.
Okay. Alrighty. Good work on that, by the way, Jesse. Okay, so also on this issue, this is go to actionforliberty.com. You can see this article we published this morning. Dave Lizagard weighed in on the issue. I mean, this guy's such a con artist. I love that photo, by the way. Screaming, yeah, I'm a Teamster. You know, Lizagard, this guy is such a phony politician. He's known as a moderate up at the Capitol. This is the guy that Kurt Doubt was like, oh, yeah, mean Action for Liberty's door knocking you. Oh, they come after me, too. I empathize with you. Lizagard's one of the 6 con artists that was voting against Walz's mercy powers in 2020 when there was a high threshold. They needed like 11 to break ranks. And then when that mattered, they only needed 4 of them. He reneged on his vote. He did a 180 and started protecting Governor Walz's mercy powers. So when he tweets this out, scroll down there, he writes, I mean, these guys, they're all the same, right? He says, I should have had this pulled up. I got a little camera just blocking the view to read the tweet on the screen. So there is no misunderstanding. I do not support Minnesota becoming a sanctuary state, and this will not become law. Hashtag Minleg. That's the Minnesota legislature. That's their shorthand for hashtagging. And he did this on February 10th, apparently. Why would we believe this guy? Like, this guy is a con artist. This guy showed he can have a stance that will completely reverse within a matter of a month. Because, by the way, he voted against Walz's mercy powers in December of 2020. And then January 2021, he took the exact opposite vote. This guy is a con artist, and it shows the progressives can push this guy any way they want. And you know what? You don't have to just take our word for it. You see that hyperlink down there, the publicized campaign finance report? Click on that, Dawson. Once again, actionforliberty.com. You can read up on this. We just looked at his campaign finance reports. He set a self-declared fundraising record for an off-election year in 2023. And I think it was like $65,000, bigger than any other cash haul, any other legislator. Well, when you look it up, it's lobbyists and PACs, special interests, and wealthy donors in the Twin Cities. This guy's up in Aurora, Minnesota. Iron Range, my butt. Yeah. You're funded, and the shots are called from the Metro Democrats. You're
right. He doesn't get his money from the grassroots at all, and that's why, wasn't it Eric Mortensen who had raised like the most money for a certain year, and
not a dime from lobbyists.
Not a dime from lobbyists, and all of it was just from the people. It shows that there's 2 different styles. You can either represent the people or you can represent the lobbyists and special interests. You can't do both, and Liz Lagarde has made his choice very clear.
Yep, there you go. That's that con artist. Okay, let's go to the comments here, and then we'll move on to
Beanie's in the comments.
What's that?
Beanie's in the comments just being
You got to be kidding
obnoxious.
me. Beanie is?
Well, she's here right now, and she said, I'm going to comment on your show. And then she's like, you'll probably just ignore me. I was like, no, I won't. But
she addressing me. Is that Beanbag?
Yeah,
that's her name, Beanbag Warren?
That's what I call her.
This is your sister. This is Bridget's sister, Beanie. We love Beanie here at the show.
Beanie says, long-time fan of your show.
Why didn't you bring Beanie in?
I told her to, but she has to work from home. She has a real hard job at home.
We got offices here.
I know.
She could have used one of the offices. Tucker would have been like, oh my God, they're both beautiful.
They're like, people think we're twins all the time.
There you go. See, Tucker's just like, I can't believe this.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know when Tucker was here last, what was that?
Was here?
Yeah, he was here.
In studio?
Well, we had that super secret meeting or super secret social event.
Oh.
He got a picture in your seat or chair.
It's half Jesse's chair, too,
Yeah,
though.
good to know Bridget has a sister. Ha ha, he says.
Oh, my gosh. But she's here because she's dating someone, so.
From Minnesota?
Yeah.
She's dating a Minnesota guy.
Yeah.
But isn't she in Kansas?
Well, she's here right now for a little while, and then she might finally move. We'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
sorry, Beanie, telling them all, but you
from
decided
what I
to
could
come
tell,
on.
we want the whole Williams. Your dad, can I say your dad's a physician? Can I say that on air?
Well, he's an eye doctor.
Yeah, well, that's a physician.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a medical license, a medical degree. Yeah. Health freedom guy. And your mom's a nurse too, right?
She is.
Yeah, you come from a family of, and you got like 9 siblings or 8 siblings. There's 9 children.
More than that.
You have more than that?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyways.
All right. What other comments
Giant
do we
Killing
have?
says, I think in reference to what Jesse was saying about the last bill we were talking about, I can't even remember, but he says, is it worth it to stay and fight? Oh, with the legalization, sanctuary state bill. He said, is it worth to stay and fight or just F it and move to Texas?
No, stay here. Don't go to Texas.
Also,
Was he asking that to Jesse?
yeah, I think so,
Yeah,
because
Jesse.
Jesse was talking.
But
Yeah,
no,
I mean-
don't leave.
We got one more election to fight.
Yeah.
We'll see how 2024 goes, and then maybe it's time to go. Maybe. But that's the thing. If you guys need to become election judges, you need to become poll watchers. You need to watch out for these illegals that are coming in, voting. Make sure that they all have identification and everything, especially if they're registering to vote. So we need to fight to save our election in Minnesota. We still can win Minnesota for Trump in 2024. The media doesn't want you to know that. The Republican Party doesn't want you to know that. David Hand doesn't want you to know that. But we can deliver our 10 electoral votes for Trump if we fight the fraud.
Beanie asked me, who should Trump pick for his VP? I don't know the answer to that question. And quite frankly, I'm not the guy to answer that question. What are you thinking, Jesse?
I was just randomly thinking about Dr. Phil. I'd almost like
Oh my
a
God.
complete
The real
outsider.
Dr. Phil
But
or the Adam
Dr.
Ray
Phil is
version?
like a very reasonable, smart guy. He wouldn't suck up too much of the attention out of the room. I think he's a loyal guy. I think Dr. Phil would be a very intelligent, even-keeled choice. So right now, I'm Dr. Phil for VP.
Hold on one
When
second.
did you think that? Just right now?
Just a couple of days ago, I was watching an interview with him, and I was like, man, this guy's so smart, So
Dr. Phil is 73 years old.
MJ Rise 150 says, honestly, I'd be gone a year ago if interest rates weren't 8%. I can't leave a
Yeah.
2.5 rate on my house.
A lot of people, yeah,
and
they're
pay 8%
stuck.
on mortgage.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
That's a big deal in my age group. A lot of friends and stuff. And I'm not saying just leave the state, but upgrade homes or move to a more
Yeah.
rural area, and they can't. They're stuck because of interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen the Dr. Phil impression by Adam Ray?
yeah, I've seen that.
I freaking love it.
Mhm.
I am such a fan.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Dr. Phil that Trump needs to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, I pick Adam Ray, but he's got to be Dr. Phil the whole time.
Yeah. No, his impression is pretty good. Yeah, lots of good podcasts, Kill Tony, all kinds of good stuff.
Susie, it can be turned around. It's hard to believe the state can be turned around. It can be turned around. Honest to God. Here's what I say to people. Obama won Florida in 2012. Ron DeSantis just won it. I know you love Ron DeSanctimonious. Oh, that's retired now.
Yeah.
He won it by 20 points. Like, you can change this stuff around. Now, you can't change around if all the good people flee to Texas, okay? So, now, I agree with you. At some point, you gotta give up, right? We're not at that point. If we're at that point, I wouldn't be telling you to stay here. We train activists every day. Like, I can see there's an energy. Like, there is this overwhelming force ready to take back Minnesota. So I'm bullish on Minnesota. But it ain't going to happen by just resorting to the rhinos to take care of business. So that's why you got to get active, because, it's not just being the Democrats. It's also getting rid of these damn rhinos that are getting in the way, right? Like the 6 that voted for
The Equal Rights
Equal
Amendment.
Rights Amendment.
Susie says, true, I concede. Maybe I live too close to the big city.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. Like you and I, because I live not too far from the Twin Cities, and it's like, I kind of keep my foot in both areas, but certainly the Twin Cities, it's kind of rough. Okay, by the way, if we're going to talk about giving up on a certain area, you could make the argument giving up on the United States of America, right? Which I would argue Texas has a good reason to secede from the nation. Pull up line 14. This is the Daily Wire just reporting this. This morning, the U.S. Senate passed a bill that just basically gave $95 billion to foreign governments. Let's see, the package, $61 billion for Ukraine, $14 billion for Israel, and $4.83 billion to U.S. allies in the Indo-Pacific, and over $9 billion in global humanitarian aid. Voting for this, I think, of pretty much every Democrat in the U.S. Senate, and then I'm going to read the list of
Except two.
rhinos.
There were 2 Democrats, and then Bernie also voted no.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it was Peter Welch, who's also a Vermont U.S. Senator, and then Jeff Merkley, who's an Oregon U.S. Senator, and then Bernie. Besides that, it was the Republicans who voted no. And the craziest vote that I saw, though, Lindsey Graham voted no on this thing.
He's probably like,
of
it's
of
not
all
enough.
of all the people, of all the warmongers in the U.S. Senate, I would have thought for sure Lindsey Graham was going to vote
Is
for
he
this thing.
tempering his hawkishness because he sees that it would be against the MAGA movement?
Right. I mean, it's only for electoral purposes. That's the only reason why.
Of
He
course.
wants at least one more term. And, I hope that South Carolina don't give it to him.
Yeah, they probably will. Because you know what? Trump will endorse him again.
I don't think so.
He's
I don't
endorsed
think
Trump.
so. Yeah, he's...
Trump's loyal to his people.
I know, but not for Lindsey Graham. Not for
Do you want to
Lindsey
make a bet?
Graham.
I'll make
Lindsey
a bet
Graham
right
is
now.
so done.
Should we bet a beer on this? Should we bet a beer on this? I bet you Trump endorses Lindsey Graham next quarter.
It's not till, I think, 2026.
Yeah.
So,
So
okay.
I'm willing to make that beer bet. You
Sure.
want to make it? Okay. Bet's on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah,
here,
I do not see Trump endorsing Lindsey Graham in the future. I don't think that's happening at all.
you know what? I actually can see it happening. I see it happening, and I'm gonna. What's this? I'm drinking a delicious beer.
Yeah.
By Jesse.
He's gonna give you a Bud Light.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a poll right now on Action for Liberty, and it was what was the poll? It said, hold on 1 second. I'll read the. I think it's over now. It says, should the Bud Light boycott end? 8.7% said yes, they've learned from it. 39.1% said no, they are super woke. 52.2% said I never drink Bud Light. That's a big dilemma in conservative politics, other than the Super Bowl shit, is are we going too easy on Bud Light? Because Trump comes out saying Budweiser is a great American company, right? So now you can drink your Budweiser
Trump,
again.
Joe Rogan, Shane Gillis. What more approval do you need? The king is back. That's what I say about Budweiser.
Well, my whole point was I don't drink Bud Light anyhow, so it's irrelevant. And a lot of people agree with me. Okay, let me go back to this. Where did I go? I lost my place here. These are the senators, Republican senators who voted for it. John Boozman, Shelley Moore Capito, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins. Ooh, big shocker there. John Cornyn from Texas, Kevin Kramer from North Dakota, Mike Crapo from Idaho.
Yeah.
The fake conservative Joni Ernst in Iowa. The even more fake conservative Chuck Grassley. By the way, Joni Ernst, like huge phony.
Yeah.
Like she was supposed to be this big conservative. Whatever. These guys, they lose their shit all so quickly.
Yeah.
John Hoeven, North Dakota. John Kennedy.
Yeah.
Everyone likes those John Kennedy clips. You know,
I know.
when he's,
That's the thing. He seems like such a personable, cool, funny guy. And, what's interesting about him that a lot of people don't know, he used to be a Democrat. He was the elected treasurer of Louisiana for years and years and years as a Democrat. He ran for the U.S. Senate back in the early 2000s as a Democrat. It wasn't until, maybe the last 10 years or so that he became a Republican. So I like him personally, but, I mean, politically, he's got so many big government establishment ideas, and it seems like he just falls in line. He's a consistent vote for whatever Mitch McConnell wants.
Speaking of Mitch McConnell, that's the next one up. Mr. Turtle himself from Kentucky. Jerry Moran of Kansas. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. So sad she's still there.
Yeah.
James Risch of Idaho. Mitt Romney. Shocker. Mike Rounds of South Dakota. Dan Sullivan of Alaska. John Thune of South Dakota. Tom Tillis of North Carolina. Roger Wicker of Mississippi, and Todd Young of Indiana.
Yeah,
I've
confronted Jim Risch before during a Republican event one time. I was there, I was at the event, and he said, "I don't want any foreign policy questions." It's like, you're the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. Screw you! I'm asking you a foreign policy question. And I knew, it was a big Republican room. I knew I could piss him off if I said, "Trump said we're going to end the war in Syria. We're bringing our troops home," and he got so irritated. He was all over the place. He didn't even want to answer my question to begin with. He wouldn't call on me when I was raising my hand. But I just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And I was, saying, this is what MAGA wants. This is what Trump wants. It's going to be beautiful. And, he was like, that's not what we're doing. We're not doing that. And so, it was
That's
just
where you say, bullshit, you work for me. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't stand these guys.
Yeah. But,
this is why we don't have politicians on the
big-time
show.
rhino that
Rarely.
the establishment, they love him in Idaho. So there's no taking him out right now.
Okay, well, listen. Can I just say this? These guys are traitors. They really are traitors. Like, my family is going through enormous amount of inflation in the last couple of years caused by these guys because they don't balance a budget and they use the Federal Reserve, the printing press, to create credit out of thin air to buy up the debt of the U.S. government. They're the ones that cause inflation. We have a lower standard of living right now because we pay taxes and our money gets eroded by inflation. And they take my money and they go overseas to this quagmire in Ukraine. And this is like the perfect parlay into the Tucker Putin conversation. You know, this is when I watch, and by the way, if you haven't seen the Tucker Putin interview, just skip ahead 45 minutes because the most fascinating thing happens. Putin goes on this diatribe. He's literally like filibustering. It's insane. He gives Tucker a history lesson of Russia and then how it ends up being Ukraine. So you got to fast forward to get past that. But what you eventually find out is Putin's not this madman, crazy person that the left wants you to believe he is with his finger on the nuke. The guy will come to the table. There is a way to get out of this conflict. Okay? I'm not saying Putin's right at all. He's clearly in the wrong. But he's not at the point where he can't be reasoned with. This is why I really believe Trump when he says, I could end this thing in 24 hours. I actually kind of believe he could end it in a very short period of time. Because there is legitimate things that Putin wants. And the most fascinating part is it was Britain, he actually says Boris Johnson, blocked any negotiation from happening and then knows America's funding this damn war. Our politicians are so utterly stupid and, dare I say, anti-American for sending our money over there to propagate this stupid war against Putin. I mean, the only tactical advantage I can see is it actually causes Putin's military to be weaker, but I don't see a huge advantage in taking our money and sending it over there and all the people that die because of it. So these guys are sending our money over there for more deaths. I don't know. At what point do we just call these guys what they are, traitors?
Right. And, you know, Rishi Sunak, who's now the leader of the Prime Minister of England, he's even worse than Boris Johnson on all of these issues, foreign policy, everything else. So, you know, England is not in a good spot either because they're led by, you know, so-called conservatives, which is unbelievable how bad their conservative party is, their leadership. So, you know, but I think there's a big populist conservative libertarian-ish uprising going on right now. We're seeing it with Javier Milei. We're seeing it with the rise of Trump again. I think that we're going to see a lot of shifts in the world on the world stage towards an anti-war movement.
Is Ukraine a part of NATO?
No, but yes. You know, because this is actually at the heart of the issue. And I know this because, you know, I was in Kosovo. I was part of a NATO mission, right? By the way, Kosovo and Muslim Albanian population broke free, declared their own independence, and NATO and all the rest of the world basically acknowledged their independence. Serbia and their aligned Russia, the same religion, same trace of history, so Serbs and Russians are allies, didn't recognize it. So we've been prodding at Putin in Russia for decades, right? Like, you have to understand for a second. I got to tiptoe around this one, okay? Because Putin's clearly in the wrong. I am anti-war. I am against killing human beings, right? Other than self-defense, okay? So you have to look at Putin going on the offense as, for what he is, a war criminal, okay? Which I would argue that American politicians are also war criminals. So Putin, terrible person. But to act like there's not a rationale behind what he's doing is ridiculous. Imagine there is some alliance of states, countries, okay? When I say states, I mean countries, okay? Against America. And they start, let's just say, south of Mexico. And each decade they creep closer and closer to the U.S. southern border, despite saying multiple times they're not going to do that. And then all of a sudden they go, Mexico may be part of this alliance, even though Mexico was never supposed to be part of this alliance. What the hell would we do? Right? We would look at that as aggression towards our sovereignty. Well, that's exactly what NATO has been doing. I saw this firsthand in Serbia. Now, on the base that I was at, Camp Bonstil in Kosovo, we had Greeks, I think their base was technically separate, but like joint physical space, and Ukrainians. So Ukraine's not technically a NATO member, but they had soldiers on the NATO mission. The way I look at it is they kind of are in NATO, especially when we act like if Ukraine gets attacked, we'll save their butts, which is literally happening. So maybe on paper they're not NATO, but they're NATO. They've been part of NATO for some time. And Putin knows this. Obviously, he knows it. And he believes Ukrainian people are Russian people. There's some validity to that. Now, once again, war criminal and monster for now going and attacking people, right?
I think that I'm becoming more hawkish on the Ukraine war too now.
Oh, of course you are. Of course he is.
Yeah.
This guy.
And I think that the reason why is because Russia can't be allowed to have free reign over there. Because once they get Ukraine, then what's next? What's going to stop them from taking a smaller country
Who's
like...
to say that's what they want to do?
Yeah, and he's not trying to take over Ukraine. He's trying to take back certain sections. We can debate the merit of that, but he's not trying to overthrow the Ukrainian government.
Is that what he said in the interview?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he wouldn't say it necessarily.
Yeah, he went on this long diatribe, and the reason he did it is because he wanted to set the stage for what their policy was. That wasn't like this crazy world ambitions. Now, maybe he does have world ambitions, but we're stupid to think that doesn't happen with every world leader. China.
How old do you think Putin is?
He's in his 70s.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Whoa,
thinking too.
really?
So,
He
he's
looks
not
good
going to
for
live
70.
forever. I think this is kind of what he wants to be the final big stamp of his legacy. So I don't think he's got world domination in mind. I don't think that he's going to, I don't know. Maybe he does have those kind of dictator worldwide ambitions, but it certainly doesn't seem like it.
No, I mean, I don't think more than the next world leader, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's so tricky to discuss this because you just get accused as being a Putin ally.
Right.
Like, I can't stress enough how humanitarian issues there are with Putin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the guy
Oh, yeah. I
literally
mean, if
kills
you go to
political
Russia,
dissidents.
it's not a free country.
It's not a free country.
The elections are corrupt. Everything's rigged. And not only that, you can be thrown in prison for the smallest infraction. You don't want to ever push against the government.
By the way, this stuff happens in Ukraine, too.
Right, exactly. But we're blessed in this country to be able to go after obviously, the government weaponizes itself and targets people. The IRS, we've heard a million different stories about it. But we have enough freedom to where we can question the government. We can go against their narrative. We can provide our own narrative. You don't get that kind of authority and power in Russia. So, I'm not going to sit here and praise Putin either. It's just we want an end to the war.
Let's go to the comments here.
Oh, there's a lot. Should we go back up?
Yeah,
to
just
some-
pick and choose. What?
Mark Kroll
ones.
said, back to the elections, he said, the thing about election judges is they have made the polling places so big you do not know anyone anymore. I work for a small election, I work a small election.
Is this a
Hancock
sanctuary
Township.
state?
Yeah.
Let's go to the
Right, no.
Ukraine. Let's stay on
Okay,
the
we can go to
here.
Ukraine. Let's see.
By the way, Bridget's so nice that she was going to go back and make sure you got your comment
well, it's
read,
an
but
interesting, comment. But let's see. Skip Bud
I got to be a
Light.
little bit more careful doing this because then we get off topic here, and I want to stay on this.
Billy22 said Candace Owens is a great analysis of the Tucker Putin interview.
Oh, I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, same here.
And they're talking about a bill.
Right.
AlleyCat62 is talking about a bill the Senate passed that will not allow Trump to call for peace in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't even know if that's true, but I believe it.
Right, and also
crazy, though.
one last thing on that bill. Mike Johnson, this is his chance to step up and make sure that the House doesn't pass something like this. So it's up to Mike Johnson. This is the biggest test of his leadership in the House. I think he's against it right now, but if he brings that to the floor and allows the rhinos and the Democrats to pass that thing, it's not going to be good. So this is a great test for his leadership. I hope that he steps up.
but Brad said if Trump gets jammed up on the Ukraine bill, he can just add tariffs on Ukraine imports.
Yeah.
And then Billy22 asked Dawson, was it okay that the U.S. instigated the 2014 civil war in Ukraine?
I don't know anything about it, so I'm not going to respond to that.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, Putin was all over that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Before we sign, I lose my freaking shit over this. Honest to God. I mean, literally, the fact that we get taxed and then they take our money and they send it over for this foreign adventurism. Do you know what the principles of blowback or the concept of blowback policy is? Like it should be known by everyone. Like things that we do overseas have consequences. It just seems to me to be a law, right? Like you can't have an action like, let's say you assassinate a world leader because they were the antithesis of freedom in their country. And so you would think, okay, well then everything beyond that's good because you got rid of the dictator, but turns out that different factions fight over and the world or the country becomes very unstable, and then you maybe have a new power that's even worse with bigger ambitions.
I mean, Muammar Gaddafi is the perfect example.
I was going to
Libya,
say Iraq,
you know?
but yes, Gaddafi's another great example.
Right,
yes.
you know, and yeah, there was so much there that, you know, we can thank Hillary Clinton for that one. And even Obama has admitted that was his biggest mistake in his administration. Well, that's what you get for putting Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. You know, that's exactly what you deserve. And Muammar Gaddafi, he tried so hard to get along with Obama. You know, he's spoken for the United Nations. He called him my son. You know, he was trying his best to get along with the United States, even though he knew that we're a corrupt country. And, you know, he had his own kind of wild, radical, Muslim, socialist, anarcho-socialist ideology. People should read the Green Book. That's his own book to understand it. But, you know, that aside, you know, the blowback from there created a civil war, and the country was way worse off than they were when they just had Muammar Gaddafi in charge.
Right, and there's so many other examples, and that's just one example of blowback. Here's another blowback: a oil embargo on Japan, leading to the attack on Pearl Harbor. Well, didn't know that one. You didn't learn that in your history lessons, did you? So there's huge blowback on the policy directions that we take. So what's the blowback going to be in the long grand scheme of things on Ukraine? These guys are just playing with fire, and I can't stand it. It's not their money. It's our money. That's what they're doing. They're taxing us. Actually, they're indebting our future generations because really it's borrowed money. They can't even balance their damn budget. The guys that can't balance a budget are the ones going around handing out welfare checks and foreign aid and military expenditures to other countries. By the way, did you see the comment that everyone's losing it? By the way, the media losing it over over Trump statements today is just hilarious because I don't think anyone's buying anymore. But they're losing their shit over this. Well, Putin should do whatever he wants and attack.
I know. You know, it's funny that they're losing their mind on that one again because like they're acting like that's the first time he said something like that. He always said, "If you don't pay your bills, I'm not defending you." So guess what? You know, the fact that all these other countries in NATO don't want to pay the 2%, we're paying over 2%. You know, we're the ones bankrolling that entire thing. So I agree with Trump. If you're not paying your bills in NATO, you're not getting any protection.
All right, let's go. Let's finish on this. RFK. I don't want to go to the focus group. You guys can go to Breaking Points. They do a decent job.
Yeah, they just put out another video of the RFK stuff
Ukraine
today. So
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the video yet, but I saw the headline. Go ahead, Bridget.
Yeah, $5. Brad Ganser says, great show, like and subscribe.
Thanks, subscribe. Thanks, Brad Ganser. Should pay him $5 to use their talking points. So basically, the question that they posed on the video that we were going to show was, who does RFK hurt more, Trump or Biden? And they have data suggesting that it's pretty equal, okay? I don't know where this goes. But you brought this up on a pre-show meeting. We have to show this this tweet by Matt Burke, former lieutenant governor, Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens, longtime All-Pro center with the Minnesota Vikings. He wrote, and this is after the Super Bowl, my two biggest takeaways from the Super Bowl, I'm looking forward to voting for Robert Kennedy and visiting South Dakota. Your thoughts on that? Thoughts on that, MAGA Jesse?
I think Matt Burke sold out 100%. You know, for him to, you know, he's out there. He says that the pro-life issue is his big issue. You know, that's his number one issue. That's what he was talking about all the time. And so I guess it doesn't translate when it comes time to voting for a president. I think he, you know, he's promoting RFK Jr. RFK Jr. is liberal on so many different things. And for Matt Burke, a guy who was our Republican nominee for lieutenant governor in the state of Minnesota, you'd think that he'd have a little more consistency and loyalty to a party that nominated him to such a high office, but apparently not. He's willing to abandon all of that. He has no loyalty to Trump. He sold out big time. Matt Burke, I got no respect for it anymore because, Matt Burke has influence. He has the influence over conservatives, and people respect and listen to his opinion. Not anymore, but, he has some influence where, people are going to look at that tweet and go, if conservative Matt Burke is going to support RFK Jr., then maybe I need to as well. And that's the problem. The media, what's the media going to do with RFK Jr.? They're going to say the COVID vaccines, they're going to run that one all over again. They're going to run the Ukraine stuff. So guess what? They're only going to focus on the issues where we agree with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They're not going to focus on anything where we disagree with him, because then what's that going to do? That's going to push away conservative voters. The media knows exactly what they're going to do. They're going to try to push as many conservatives into RFK Jr. as possible. They're going to scare off as many Democrats from him as possible. And if you look at the numbers right now, more Trump people support RFK Jr. They like him more than the Democrat voters like RFK Jr. So that means that Republicans need to have even more discipline when it comes to voting, because you might like two people on the ballot, but guess what? You're only going to be able to vote for Trump unless you're a sellout like Matt Burke, because Matt Burke sold he sold the party out right there. No respect.
We have comments. Data78 says, is Burke trolling? MJ Rice says, I think it's sarcasm. Noof2727 said, Matt Burke is talking about the Super Bowl commercials as a joke. And
is it possible here that MAGA Jesse loses a sense of humor, his senses on what is good?
I got a sense of humor, but where's the joke?
I don't you? Okay, let me put this in context. This is the way I read it. Okay, go back to that tweet. Let's put it on there. My two biggest takeaways from the Super Bowl. Now he's tweeting.
He said Robert Kennedy though, which
no, I'm getting to that, Bridget.
Oh, sorry.
That was gonna be my point.
Sorry.
He's commenting on the Super Bowl like any of us would, right? Okay, just as fans. I want to say something. And so if you look at the context of the Super Bowl, we all watch the Super Bowl. You watch the Super Bowl?
No, I honestly don't care to.
Did you watch it?
Yeah,
right?
I watched the Super Bowl.
Dawson didn't. So 2 of the 4 of us here watched the Super Bowl. There's lots of ads. That's part of the whole show.
Yep.
Partly saying go to South Dakota. It's the advertisement campaign by South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
The other big one that stood out is a Robert Kennedy Jr. ad that actually mimicked JFK's 1960s ad, I think it was.
Yeah.
So that is his biggest takeaways is I'm looking forward to voting for Robert Kennedy, not Jr., but Robert Kennedy, because look how old this ad is.
I mean, that makes no sense.
I just didn't I put it in a context that makes sense?
It still doesn't make any sense. Why would he mean I can't wait to vote for a dead guy?
Meaning like I just
that
watched
commercial was not for his dad.
Meaning like I just watched an ad that makes me want to vote for somebody that's from the 1960s. Actually, Robert F. Kennedy.
Go back to the tweet. That's not
Robert
what he
F.
said.
Kennedy,
he said,
ran
I
in
can't
68.
wait to vote for Robert Kennedy.
Right.
Just because he didn't say RFK Jr., what other Robert Kennedy would he be talking about? You're saying his dad? I don't think so. And look at what the replies are there. Wasting a vote is exactly on par. He supports abortion, so he's a no. So if you look at these replies, other people are saying, what are you talking about? Why are you not supporting Trump? Why would you do this? You're abandoning your values. Matt Burke hasn't clarified anything. He hasn't said, oh, this was a joke. And if it was a joke, it's not funny.
We should call Matt. We should call Matt Burke and find out what he thinks.
Yeah.
Everyone in the comments thinks it's a joke. Base Minnesota says he's joking because Kennedy ad during the Super Bowl.
But
Tucker
how
says
is
it makes
that
perfect sense. Love Minnesota says Burke was making fun of how antiquated
Love
the ad
Minnesota.
was.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I look at it. It was like an antiquated ad. Like, I can't wait to vote for JFK. He probably should have just said JFK. Or he's a genius, and he's like, it's better for the troll. I'll get guys like MAGA Jesse freaking out about this.
No,
if I say Robert
he's not
Kennedy.
trolling, though. That's the thing.
I think he is here.
I don't know.
Do you think he's also saying he wants to go to South Dakota?
Yeah.
Who wants to go to South Dakota ever, though?
Whatever.
Yeah,
I do. I love South
there
Dakota.
are cool things in South Dakota.
Well, the western part.
I do not believe either.
I think Billy
have
22
you
is
been to
with me.
Black
I'm not
Hills?
the only one.
Don't
maybe.
judge South Dakota until you go to Black Hills.
Maybe. I've driven through South Dakota twice.
Where to?
I don't know. It was just flat.
Where did you drive to? You said you drove through.
To Vegas. And then back. One time we went above the northern.
No, I don't know. I've never done that trip, but you might have gone south before the Black Hills. Do you remember the Badlands?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You probably avoided the Black Hills. I'm guessing you got.
Probably might have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mount Rushmore.
Because you've never seen Mount Rushmore, right?
Mount Rushmore is awesome.
I got to drive past that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
oh, so you did go to the Black Hills.
Yeah. Then I guess so. It's a cool drive-by state.
Yeah, but you know what? If Matt Burke is trolling, I'll take it on the chin and admit it. But to me, just the way that I read it, I don't read a joke in it. And to me, it looks like just kind of a subtle, hey, I like RFK Jr. and that's just not what we need right now.
But he did not say Junior on there.
I don't get why he would be meaning his dad, who is dead. It doesn't make any sense.
Because his dad's from the era that commercial
I know, but the commercial wasn't made about his dad.
I know, it's for JFK.
I know.
I mean,
so
you probably should have said JFK.
I think you're trying to give a friendly interpretation to Matt Burke.
But
and
the way I read it.
I'm just saying I'm willing to burn the bridge when I think the bridge is broken. You know, if I think the bridge is not going to get me across safely to Trump land, I'm not crossing that bridge. I'm willing to burn that bridge.
Now, you said it was the Republican brand. He's like trading on Republicans. What if Mitt Romney was the presidential candidate?
Oh, well, I'd be turning on the Republicans then. You know, but that's the thing.
So it's really just about Trump.
Well, MAGA is the Republican Party now. And, you know, if he was out there endorsing Nikki Haley, it'd be a different thing. But that's the thing. You know, he's the one who needs to stay true to his supposed principles, which if he is Mr. Pro-Life, he better be voting like Mr. Pro-Life.
Well, I agree with that. Like, it would be tough as a pro-life guy to support someone that's anti-life. But can't he make up his mind? Can't he go independent? Why is he bound to be a Republican?
You know,
literally, if Trump was independent, you would abandon Republicans in that election.
Right, but you know, I'm not the one who's using the pro-life issue as my big thing.
Oh, you're kind of changing the field goal
He's
post
the one.
now.
Matt Burke is the one who says that's his big issue. He better vote accordingly.
That's why I think this is a joke, because I don't think there's any way he's supporting RFK for that reason.
Well, I don't know. You know, he's never said it's a joke. You and some others in the comments are giving him a friendly interpretation.
We should see if he'll do the
but
show.
I'm not seeing it.
We should see if he does
I'd
the
like
show
to know
on
where he
Thursday.
stands for real. If it is a joke, so be it. I can move on. I'd accept it, but I just don't. I just didn't read it that way. And every time I read it, I still don't read it that way.
What do you think, Dawson? You're the most detached from all this stuff. So how do you read it as an observer?
I'm just gonna ask him. There we go.
What does that mean?
Sent tweet.
I didn't
/ joking or / serious.
He's asking Matt Burke.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would never understood what that means if you.
But did he didn't respond to anything on tweets? We could just reach out to him personally. So I think we should.
To me, it sounds like a joke because it sets up like a sketch comedy thing that Jerry Seinfeld would do. Like, there's two things that I'm excited about going to airports.
Hold
the
on
long
one
lines.
second. That was your Jerry Seinfeld impression?
No, the long lines.
Jerry
and the airplane food.
Seinfeld would be like, and what is the deal with that ad? Is it Robert Kennedy or is it JFK? I don't know. That's Seinfeld right there.
Did you hear what I said?
What did you say?
Okay. No, don't even worry about it.
No. Go ahead, Dawson.
Yeah, it sounds to me like a joke that's like, there's two things I look forward to going to the airport for: the long lines and the airplane food. Like, neither of these things are good. It sounds like sarcasm.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point right there.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't get it. You know, if it's a joke, it fell flat to me.
Mapkinate agrees with you, Jesse, because he said you're always right.
Hey, thank you, Mapkinate. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's great stuff. Politicians are not allowed to make jokes. Someone will always be offended. That's true.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
I'm good with jokes, but at least make it clear that it's a joke. You know, and I can handle
That's
the
a better
sarcasm
joke.
too. So
When
you know,
you don't make
we'll
it
see.
clear.
We'll keep investigating it. If Matt Burke wants to grow a pair and endorse Trump, I'd love to see it. But he hasn't endorsed Trump, so why would I be thinking he wants RFK Jr.? Wonder why. It's almost like he tweeted that.
We have a watch party for the infamous Matt Burke presidential endorsement.
Yep.
We have
I'm
to
waiting.
Get to the bottom of this. All right, we'll end it there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Our sponsors. Who are our sponsors here?
Warren Wessel.
What's that?
Warren Wessel,
Well,
right?
I know that one. Alpine Cabinetry of St. Cloud in Warren Wessel. Thank you for Beanie. Thank you to Beanie for watching for the first time. Is this her first time watching?
I think so.
There you go. Billy 22, Brad Gaines, or MJ Reese 150. Love Minnesota. God save our republic. I'm just Ellie Cat. All the ones that are on my screen right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. The Rumble rants. Brad had 2, I think, and did we get one from?
We did have another one.
Love Minnesota.
Yeah, Love Minnesota.
Awesome
Oh
stuff.
yeah, and Love Minnesota said sorry to interrupt because you said something about interrupting, but I was going to tell. I don't know if it's a he or she, but that's their right when they give money, so they don't need to feel bad about interrupting.
Yep.
Because you said something about like when you interrupt. I don't know what you said exactly, but.
Oh no, I was.
Then I think they felt bad for interrupting, and I was like, no, you're allowed to.
Yeah,
You're
but
good.
it wasn't connected to the Rumble Rant. Fair point, but the Rumble
Yeah.
Rant interrupts it.
Exactly. So Rumble Rant gives you the right to interrupt.
So then you go back, Bridget, and then interrupt the current way we were going.
Well, they posted the Rumble rant came during the next topic.
Listen,
That's not Bridget's
all
fault.
I'm doing is placing blame on you guys for my ability to not stay or inability to stay on track.
That
So,
seems healthy.
Quite frankly, this is all my fault. I'm the host. What? Who else is to blame other than me? I can't stay on track. My God. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday. Not with Ryan Binkley. What's
Yeah.
his nickname?
Bitch ass Binkley.
Binkley.
because
He-
he backed out again. Back out Binkley because
Backed out Binkley.
we'd love to do an interview. Okay, let's get it scheduled. Perfect. We'll see you then. Okay. Cancel. Okay, let's reschedule. Okay, we rescheduled. Canceled. Binkley, this guy couldn't even get 1% in Nevada when the only person he was competing against was Trump, meaning that all of the Nikki people should have said, go to the caucus, vote for Binkley. He couldn't even get 1% of people to go and do that, so he's done.
Yeah.
He's Matt Burke to me.
You have completely lost Jesse. And Jesse was on
And
your
I
side.
believed in Binkley for a little
You
while.
did. You definitely did. So, bitch ass Binkley. Love it. Backed out Binkley.
Yeah.
He's dead to us. Too bad. Even if you wanted to do a show now, we wouldn't do it.
Not
Maybe
interested.
we would for entertainment value. Then you guys could spar.
It'd be aggressive.
Very aggressive.
It would have been a lot friendlier of an interview.
Yep, not anymore.
Before.
Too
Not
bad.
anymore.
And everyone at home's like, who?
Yeah, exactly.
He's a presidential candidate.
That's true.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday. Take care.